This is P.L. Myers, a shot to the top, pro wrestling's manager extraordinaire.
This is Steve Michaels, the master of the Chicago Bear Hug.
This is Tim Storm, former NWA World Heavyweight Champion.
What's up, guys? This is Mr. 3%, John Hudson.
This is Rockstar Johnny Nye.
Hello there, wrestling fans. This is John Bullard, owner of Chicagoland Championship Wrestling, and you're listening to What Do You Say with DDJ.
Welcome, everyone, to episode 20 of What Do You Say with DDJ. This is the unofficial Christmas episode, as this will be airing, debuting a couple of days before Christmas. As always, I'm your host, DDJ, and joining me today is the CCW superstar, the Kang of the show, Myles Mercer. So grab a beer, grab a drink, grab a sandwich, grab a snack. Just grab something, kick back, get comfortable, and enjoy episode 20 of What Do You Say with DDJ and my guest this week, the Kang of the show, Myles Mercer. All right, welcome to another episode of What Do You Say with DDJ, and joining me this evening is, and let me make sure I got this right. I'm going to make sure I put some stank on this. I got the Kang of the whole show, Myles Mercer. Myles, how are you doing this evening?
I'm good, man. I'm chilling. What about yourself?
I've been chilling, just relaxing, just talking with you. Let's get right to it. So I want you to start out by telling me and my audience a little bit about yourself. Where does the Kang hail from?
Well, the K-A-N-G. I hail from Chicago.
Okay.
Mostly everything south side, south suburbs,
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, just South Chicago in general.
Okay, and you've been in Chicago your whole life, so lifelong Chicago guy.
Yeah, man, 30 years now.
So
yeah.
Okay, so you said you're from the South Side. Please tell me you're a White Sox fan.
I'm not really big on baseball, but if I dabble in, yeah, I'm from White Sox.
All right, cool. I'll take that. Anything but the Cubs, I can live with. So
right.
But,
it's all Chicago though, man. It's all Chicago.
Yeah, that's true. So how did you discover pro wrestling?
Well, everybody genuinely, their story is probably the same. You was younger and that's probably something you wanted to do, Mm-hmm. For me, my dad, I think, was like, he the one that really put me on like wrestling or whatever. So, and I would always tell him, like, man, one day I'm just going, I'm actually, I'm gonna do this, you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Give it a try. And then the day came, I just said, you know what? Hey, got some money, got a car, you know what I mean?
Right.
Just give it a try. And I was just curious, and I'm here still. So hey, basically I was just curious if I can really, perform, all that other the tumbles and all. I ain't too big on that, but I just wanted to see if I can perform in front of an audience. You know what I mean? So. Yeah.
Well, obviously, and we'll get into this a little bit later, but bet the show and the CCW show back in October. That was my first time seeing you in the ring, man, and you look like you knew what you were doing in there. So.
Thank you. I tried, man. That's it. I tried to make it look good as possible.
Oh yeah, so we're gonna get into that a little bit later. But when you started watching wrestling, were you watching WWF, WCW, or what were you?
I grew up on WWF. Well, to be honest, I watched WCW too. I was going back and forth.
During the Monday Night Wars and all that?
Oh yeah, for sure.
And then who were some of your favorites, like, from when you first started watching?
My favorite wrestler when I started watching? It had to be Rey Mysterio, I believe, when I was little,
Okay.
Yeah, Rey was like my first favorite, yeah. And then as the Attitude Era came in and all that, I think it was The Rock.
Okay.
Rock, Stone Cold, you know, those guys. I like the
yeah.
Shawn Michaels. I like the Undertaker. You know, basically it's a lot of greats. You know, you got a whole list of them.
Oh yeah,
yeah.
So what was it about Rey Mysterio that like really drew you to him?
The athleticism, you know, the lucha style. I've like within the last like 2 years, I've dived in like lucha style. You know, it's interesting to me because they do a lot of stuff. It look like it's a lot of stuff, but it's not. You know, they quick no matter what age they are. He could be a 60-year-old lucha. He can move like he 19, 18. I'll be amazed. Like, man, this dude, like, you know what I mean? Like, you really know what he's doing. So, yeah, I mean, to me, lucha was, in the beginning, it was like, you know, it was interesting to me. You know what I mean? It wasn't like everybody else. He had a mask on, of course, but I think it was a moment, too. He took the mask off.
Yep.
Right. Yeah. So
yeah, it was. I think it was in '99 or something. I think it was Super Brawl or something, if I remember.
Yeah. Yeah. So it was interesting to me. Just his performance or whatever. You know.
Yeah. So like, what would you say? Because obviously you mentioned you started watching during the Monday Night Wars. What was like your favorite memory from that area? Like thing that happened, like moment or something.
Oh, you asked some tough questions already.
Man, I gotta give you something to think about, man. I can't just throw you all softballs.
That's tough. I can't even.
Or just something that sticks out in your mind. Maybe not necessarily like your favorite or something, but just something from that era that really, you know, like, you know, just something that you'll never forget.
It got to be something big. I'm just trying to. I'm trying to think. Let me see. Because my memory is like shot when it comes to stuff like this. But when they was like when they say the Monday Night Wars, they was like going to each show and they was like feuding with, you know, taking out from people from Raw, and it was something. I forgot what it was.
You talking about something like when DX showed up invaded WCW when they went to
there it is. The invasion. Yeah.
That was really cool because that was like something that, like, you know, nobody did back in the day and stuff. And I remember seeing that and I'm just like, wow. So you alluded to it kind of like, you know, early already and stuff, but you talked about, you know, when you got into wrestling, you know, you told your dad that this is something you're going to do. About how old were you when you finally realized you made the decision that, yes, I'm going to become a professional wrestler?
Like really going to try to do it? Or
right. Yeah. Like when you decided like you wanted to pursue a career in pro wrestling.
Well, it always stood back in my mind that I wanted to do it. As I said, growing up to see if I can do it. But when I really was trying to do it was like, and I was probably like 20 or 21, but at that time I ain't had no car, you know what I mean?
Right.
I had no money. Well, I had money, but not really a way to get there to actually train. But I think when I was like 22, I reached out to the same dude that I reached before. So, and it was, you know, the place was still open. So I probably started training when I was like 20, 22, 23.
Okay.
So yeah, that was really when I really was trying to, you know, and then the first like day of training or whatever, and I just stuck with it. Like went to every practice like faithfully.
Where did you train?
Pro Championship Wrestling, PCW.
Oh yeah, okay. Oh yeah, I'm very familiar with them.
Yeah, but I was like on the last. I was like on the end of it, like the last 6 months of that run for that company.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah. So they was trying to push for me to have my first match like on the last show, which nobody knew it was the last show. They told us like beginning of the show that it was the last show. So I'm like, wow, okay, well,
yeah.
This it, my first show on the last show.
Yeah. So you did actually wrestle on their last show?
Oh yeah. And my hats off to Jay Phoenix. He was one of the trainers there. It was supposed to be a squash match, you know, but he was like, nah, figure it out that. We just gonna have you do at least least 10 minutes or whatever. So he actually gave me a full match, you know, because he was really supposed to go out there and put a hurting on me. So he actually wanted to, you know, so that I can do something as being my first match, at least enjoy it. You know what I mean?
Right. And so it's kind of funny you mentioned, because I was actually at that show, like in the audience and stuff. So.
Oh man, for real?
Yeah, I was there. Like I said, it was my first PCW show in probably almost 10 years, and I was there with my best friend, and I remember telling us, like, man, we had so much fun. It's like, we got to start going back to these again. And then, like, a couple weeks later, it's when they announced they were shutting down, and I was really sad and stuff.
Wow, that was the one with Ricky Steamboat, right?
Yep.
Yeah, see,
that was the reason. That was the main reason why I went, because he was there, and Steamboat's one of my favorites. So,
yeah, man.
So what was it like, getting ready, you know, in the back for your first match, and then going out to the ring, you know, first time in front of a crowd? What was going through like your head and stuff at that time? Like,
man, I mean, I ain't gonna lie, I was nervous.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, well, because to me, you get a little shy, you know what I mean? But actually wrestling and you know, I can make a fool out of myself. You know what I mean? I ain't got no problem showing that I'm a goofball or whatever. So I'm nervous behind the curtains, but when I go out, it's something totally different. And now it's just like, it's second nature to me. It's like something that click. Like either I'm gonna be the heel or I'm the face. You know, it just click. Let's go to work. You know what I mean? But yeah, before I'm always nervous, man. I always get goosebumps. It don't matter if it's 5 people. I didn't wrestle in front of 2 people. You know what I mean? So from 2 to 500 people, and it's always been the same.
Right. Does it now? We mentioned Jay Phoenix, who's someone I'm familiar with from like my daytime, you know, going to PCW shows and like that. Did he have a hand? Was he one of your? You said he was one of your trainers, correct?
Yeah, he was one of the trainers. Yep.
Who else trained you?
The first guy that I went to that was I guess the lead trainer there was Jared Priest.
Okay.
That was the first guy. Yeah, the first guy I contacted for training. It was him, Rayon Skills, and Rocket. This guy named Rocket.
Rick Rocket?
Yeah, yep.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that was the 4 that trained me when I was starting out. And I went to everybody practice, so they you know, I was picking it up so quickly. So hey.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now, did each different trainer teach you something different, or did they all pretty much teach you kind of the same things? Just
I know it was different. It was different. Priest was more out of the 3 was more structured. Mm-hmm. Like you come in and you right to doing core workouts. And you might do some little chain and then he'll teach you, you know, the proper way, not really going into moves, but he'll teach you to break down how the beginning part of a bump, basically, if I'm saying it right. He'll teach you the proper way how to bump to get to that move, basically.
Okay.
Right. Yeah, and then
I kind of get what you're saying.
Yeah, Rocket was more cardio, and we running them ropes.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So he gonna physicality aspect, he gonna put you through. Jay was more like more technical. You know what I mean? We was trying to get into, like, he would teach us a little bit of catch wrestling. We was trying to get more into it, but considering they was closing and all that, so it was only so much we could do with so little time. So yeah, so it was more technical with Jay.
Okay, so after PCW closed down, where did you go after that?
Yeah, when they closed down, man, I ain't gonna lie, I was probably finna quit.
Really?
Yeah, man, because my knowledge of wrestling ain't like everybody else's. You know, that was the only place that I typed in and looked up in the Chicago area that was close to me. You know what I mean? So once they closed, I was like, man, I'm probably done. You know what I mean? We'll be going from here. But people that was there that I trained with, some of the trainees reached out to me, and told me this place called CTW, Crash Test of Wrestling.
Okay, yeah.
It was like in Gary at the time. So, and we went out. They had a meeting or whatever, and tell everybody what they was bringing us in and stuff like that. So we went out there, did a couple shows, and every show it was growing. They started bringing in production and LRP people like that. So it was good for what they was trying to do. But politics, we can get into that if you want to get into that. But
Right. And that's so and then where after that after how long were you with Crash Tested Wrestling?
Crash Tested, I think they ran like a year before I got there. But we was there like it was like 3 years.
Okay.
2015 to 2018. I think that's when they stopped or whatever.
Okay.
Or put on hold. So yeah. It was about 3 years.
Okay, cool. And like now, were you still technically training there, or were you there pretty much and you just went there and worked?
Oh no, I was training. We was the same only trainer that, well, I can't say the only trainer. I think Rion Skills and Jared Priest was the only two that came over from PCW that was still training. So they was training us at CCW.
Okay. Now, did you pick? Did you? Were there any other guys that stepped in to help with your training at that time, or was it just those two?
Mainly just those two.
Okay.
I mean, and the people I trained with at PCW came over too. So, some of the trainees. So I was already used to, have everybody, moved or whatever. So that was pretty cool. So it wasn't really nobody new. That I had like basically start over. So I already had the structure down of how Priest trains or whatever. So.
So what would you say would be, and this is one question I always like to ask my guests on my show, is what would you say would be like the best piece of advice you were ever given, like when it comes to the wrestling business?
Less is more.
Okay. And who taught you that?
Priest taught me that.
Okay.
He's more of like old school, you know what I mean? He ain't one of those people that glorify like flipping, which is fine. It looks nice, you know what I mean? But
right.
he basically, they basically say you ain't got to do all that just to get over, you know what I mean? So then, and by me being trained like that, I can do those like flips and kicks and somersaults or whatever you want to call it, but I just choose not to. Because I wanted to, in my head, for me, being in wrestling, I wanted to be different from your average black wrestler. See what I'm saying?
Right.
It's like everybody know that we athletic and we can flip, we can fly, we can do it, but what else can you do?
Right.
You know what I mean? So
no, I know exactly what you mean. Like I said,
yeah.
I've been a wrestling fan for about 30 years, and while I love matches that people like to call spot fest and things like that, where it's
right
and all that.
But like I said, it looks nice, right? There's nothing wrong with it,
No. But I mean, also too, I mean, as much as I like that, I love a match that can tell a good story as well too.
Right.
In the end, that's what professional wrestlers are. They're storytellers.
Right.
And
that'd be if you look at any match I've been a part of, that mostly be my main focus is to entertain. Try to get those people to come back and look, and I want to see that guy with the crown around his neck.
Well, yeah, and I mean that was kind of one of the things that I first noticed when you did your entrance with C-Red for the CCW show, because again, like I said, going to that show was the first time really seeing a lot of the guys there. And one of the things, and I kind of mentioned this to C-Red when I had him on a couple weeks ago, and it was even after I talked with you guys after the show when he did that little interview with me and stuff. I want to say I think I probably had the most fun with you two guys there with all the interviews I did that night and stuff, and I think that was kind of, once I got that out of the way, I was like, okay, now I kind of get what these guys are doing and stuff like that. And
right.
Really appreciate it and stuff. So, and speaking of C-Red, how did you hook up with him? Like, how did you run into him in the business?
That's well, I think it was CTW had they do a year-round show, like a big show. A lot of companies do that, which was called Destiny, and it was the first one. They brought in the Soul Touches,
right,
and I was I was teamed up with somebody that I wasn't supposed to be teamed up, which they said they wasn't going to team us with, but we just stuck with it and we made our own thing. His name was David Desire.
Okay.
And we had a tag team match against them, and the whole premise of the match was my partner was supposed to turn on me from a mistake that I made that cost us the match, basically.
Okay.
And then he was finna take me out, and then Soul Touchers ran in and saved me, basically. So that was a whole split. But that was the time that I had actually met C-Red. I didn't really get to talk to him much, but that was the time that I met him. And then I think like a couple months later, the booker of CTW, I think, talked to Red and told him that they starting a group and they wanted him to, basically be the manager or whatever. And you're right. And from what I was told, I was actually supposed to be in another group. I wasn't even. That's the funny part about the ARC. I wasn't supposed to be in that group.
Okay.
It was supposed to be somebody else. I was face at the time, and they was trying to get me to do gimmick or something that they had planned, or what the owner had planned, which to me wasn't me at all.
Okay.
I'm like, man, I can't. I'm not comfortable with doing it. You know what I mean? I don't want to do nothing I'm not comfortable with doing, because then it's gonna suck.
Right. And it'll reflect on your performance in the ring.
Right. So I guess they just said, just turn him heel. And that the night that I turned was the night that ARC was basically born. So with John Hudson,
yes,
Renee Van P was C-Red, and then Aaron Xavier was the original 5 or whatever. So and then it's from there. It was just like, well, now we're here, and it's just,
right.
It's just us. But from that moment of us, I think it was like 2016. From then. From till now. So C-Red is really, they've been there since that day.
Right. So obviously you've gotten to know C-Red over the years, and like you said, in the time that I spent with him on my show, I even told this to him, I felt like I went from doing an interview to chatting with a really good friend, and that was just in the span of about an hour and a half. Tell me, is C-Red seems like he's such a good guy.
Oh yeah, that's my dog, man.
And just like, I just kind of want to know, how much what does he mean to you? Because obviously you guys have been together for a while.
What does he mean to me? C-Red is like, I ain't trying to get all emotional or whatever, but that's my brother, man. Like I think I think when we actually was doing shows together at CTW, he would always try to give us advice about, just go out there and basically enjoy it, just have fun, basically, don't try to, don't just get discouraged in what you're doing or whatever. Just basically focus. If you hungry, you actually want to do this, then actually put your best foot forward. But he means a lot to me. Like I said, he like a big brother to me, man. That's the best way I could put it. Like the extra brother in my family. So everybody call him Uncle Red. I call him bro. That's my brother. So
yeah. And that was in the conversations I've had the past couple weeks with CCW owner John Bullard, because he and I talk quite a bit on Facebook and stuff. He's actually the one that told me. I think he first told me, or he talked about that as well too. And then when I had C-Red on my show, he talked about that. And it's just, to me, that just really just speaks to what kind of person he is that people feel that comfortable with him that they call him Uncle Red or whatever and stuff.
Yeah,
it's really cool. So who are some of the other guys that you've been associated with in your time as, part of the ARC and also the Soul Touchers?
Wait, you asking me who? Wait,
who
what
else
about
have
those?
you worked with? Because I know you mentioned C-Red, Aaron Xavier, Jonathan Hudson.
Who else was in there?
Who else were you associated? Because I know I believe there's a couple more guys that you were that were part of that.
Yeah, one of the guys. Two other guys other than Renee Van P was Willie LeBron Richardson and Rion Skills.
Okay.
They was the two that was added, I think, after I think Aaron Xavier was retiring, taking a break or whatever it was. So they added them two in, and Rion's been there when I started at PCW. He was one of the trainers there, and
right.
And he was another one that's close to me, basically my brother, my dog, you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So, we would ride to practice. I'd pick him up, or we would ride to the show. So Rion was another one. So when he was in the group, he actually helped me a lot too. When I started, he was actually the one person that understood what I was trying to say, basically on basically how I talk. He understood it, you know what I mean? Because he was there, and he relates to me because we almost like the same in a way, as far as how we speak and show emotion and because at that time, like I said, they was trying to come up with a gimmick for me. Then I'm explaining what I want to do, but nobody want to listen to me. When you see me, he's like, that's it right there. He got it right there. He's trying to explain it to y'all, and y'all not listening to him. So he was the first guy that actually understood me.
All right.
Yeah. So yeah, and then Willie was Willie is Willie. Willie's another one, man. That's my boy there. Another big bro. He was he just energy, man. He just all around fun, man. Like he's just want to do everything. He down for whatever. Right. If we say we doing this, Willie say, hey, let's do it, man. I don't care, So the grizzled vet. So yeah, he was another one.
Cool. So one of the things I noticed, when I was perusing the your pro wrestling tee store, the one that you have with like C-Red and everybody in the ARC and stuff, is that a lot of like the shirts you have are very, like heavily comic book influenced? And so I'm assuming you're into comics and that kind of stuff.
I mean, I ain't into the comics, but I dabble into the whole, Marvel and, whatever. I ain't never really sat down and read no comic book. That's mostly read.
Read? Okay.
I like that stuff, but I never really read the comics, you know what I mean?
More into like the movie, like the movies, that Marvel puts.
Right, the movies, the shows, stuff like that. I ain't never really read the comics, but I like the stuff. I don't think there's nothing wrong with it.
No,
you saw the gear I wore at at the CCW show was like Sub-Zero gear, stuff like that, So I'm a fan of that stuff, but I never read
me
the
too.
comics.
So okay, so we're gonna kind of go a little off course here and stuff. You mentioned like the Marvel movies and stuff. What would you say was your favorite out of all the movies that Marvel's put out in the Marvel Cinematic Universe? Which would you say was your favorite?
Ooh. That's tough. I like the first Avengers movie.
Okay, that's a good one.
The first one, yeah. Infinity War was both of them was Infinity War was cool.
Infinity War and Endgame.
Yeah, the Winter Soldier.
Yeah. I love Winter Soldier.
That was really good. I think that was probably one of the top out of the top three. Oh, and matter of fact, can't forget.
Okay.
Gotta say Black Panther. Gotta say Black Panther.
Black Panther was really good,
Yeah, I can't even stunt. That's probably the top, man.
Yeah. It's a real, shame and a tragedy what happened to Chadwick Boseman and stuff, because there's really he did such a good job with that character, and I believe, if I'm not mistaken, Marvel just recently announced they're not going to recast him and stuff. So, and that, but that was such a great person for that role, and just such a great
and to actually hide that from everybody over the course of 4 years or something like that. Yeah, man.
I remember when I heard he died of cancer, I remember being blown away, and I even think I was talking to my wife about this, and it's like, I didn't even realize he was sick.
Exactly. I think I didn't really recognize he was sick. I think they showed a picture of him. He was talking, and his face looked like it was slimming down or whatever.
Right.
And everybody thought it was a movie role. I thought it was a movie role
yeah,
too.
yep.
And that was the cancer eating at him, and I'm like, wow. Yeah.
And then for the record, my favorite MCU movie is Guardians of the Galaxy 2.
Okay.
It's just mainly because the main reason why, and I love the first one, and the
first
reason
one,
the main reason, and it's really weird. Like my wife actually likes those movies, and she's not really into that kind of thing. So that's kind of one of the reasons why I hold them in such high regard. But the big thing for me too was the soundtracks from both those movies. They had just such good music.
Oh yeah, them classics, man.
Oh man, that was good stuff.
Them old school songs. Man. I got an old soul, so I listen to all that stuff too.
Yeah, I think I got everything, all those music from both those movies on my iPhone and stuff. You also mentioned your attire was inspired by Sub-Zero for Mortal Kombat and stuff. So I'm assuming you're a video game guy as well too.
Yeah, I get down with it. I dabble a little bit, but I think it was another wrestler that I basically tagged with. His name Just Amazing. The inspiration was behind him too. He put the idea together as far as Mortal Kombat. I think he got like a scorpion gear, and then another guy got like the reptile, and I got the Sub-Zero. So it was just like
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
So was Sub-Zero your go-to guy in Mortal Kombat when you'd play?
You can say that. I'm more Liu Kang, but yeah, Sub-Zero was cool too.
Okay. Yeah, Sub-Zero was always my go-to, but like my number 2 guy was always Baraka.
Oh, okay. with the
blade that just come out of his arms and stuff. Yeah. Those were like my 2 guys and stuff. So obviously I alluded to, first time I saw you in action, it was the CCW show. How did you get into contact with CCW owner John Bullard?
Just going to practice. 2 years ago, like 2018, I think I just went to a practice that Rion was, running, Rion Skills, and Bullard was there, and I think it was this like the last whatever run he had. I think he was trying to wrestle, come back in the ring for a while or whatever. Yeah, and he ran some spots with a couple of guys there. He was just listening to me talk and tell him certain things about, basically certain moves or whatever. And I was giving my input on certain things. I guess just like the way I was talking and stuff. And he said, man, it was like he just telling me I used to run shows, I used to do this, do that. And he was like, whenever he, get back up and running, eventually that he was going to put me on the show. Mm-hmm. And I think that after that practice was over and everybody left, Rion came to me and was like, yeah, he really likes you or whatever. I'm like, man, I ain't even do nothing, bro. I just practicing like everybody else. Like, what's good? Like, what's going on? So, and he stuck to his word. I think I made a post about it too. And I, like I said, I took my hat off to him. He's a man of his word. He said it when he started running shows, he's going to put me on there. And I'm the first man out on Amazon Prime, Fight TV, and Power 4 TV. So I appreciate it,
So what was it like? Because you actually gave me a perfect segue to my next question. Is what was it like, basically being the first, like basically the first wrestler that the crowd got to see at that show? Like,
right.
Something I had Yo-Ya on a few weeks ago, and I asked the same question too. Is like, what was it like being the part of that very first match in CCW history?
I mean, it was an honor, man. Like, he chose us to do it and chose us to kick it off, to basically start up CCW, show the talent, show what he wants CCW to be. So he entrusted that to us. So I appreciate it. Hey, lights, camera, action. Because when I was behind that curtain and they music playing, that's when that's that click. Showtime. And I'm just like, hey, tunnel vision. Like, get out there, do your thing, do what you need to do, entertain, get the story over. Like, I think I messaged Yo-Ya like a week. And I don't even know Yo-Ya, I don't know him from Adam.
So
we first out, Like, we gotta set the tone. He was like, yes, sir. So we just
right.
Hey,
So you mentioned that you've done both face and heel. You've performed as both the face and the heel. Which one do you like doing better? Do you like being a face or do you like being a heel?
Man, look, just heel, man. I ain't gonna stunt heel because only reason I say that is because for me, when I always tell people I really don't have a gimmick. As heel or face, it's just me.
Right.
It's just me with a chain and a crown on my neck. I'm goofy. I can be the a-hole or just whatever. It's like an extension of my personality. In my head, I always, when people get their first impression,
right,
of me, if I'm not probably I don't know, talkative as much or whatever, they get their first impression like, oh, this dude, he cocky, he a-hole, he this, he that, just our first glimpse, you know what I mean? But when you really get to talk to me, it's like, oh, he ain't really like that at all. But that first glimpse is how I put it out when I come out, as far as like character wise, you know what I mean? I try to be the person. I try to be the person that they see me as, but that's not really me, of course. But it's just an extension, of me. I'm not cocky. I'm just probably overly confident.
right. Because
like, it's like ignorant confidence, basically. Right. I'm not really a cocky dude. That's just the energy I give off, basically.
Right. And that's kind of funny that you mentioned that because that's kind of it obviously. What you're doing and what you're trying to portray is working because is the kind what you say when you come out of the ring, and that's what you're kind of the audience. That's what I took in when I saw you. It's like, man, this guy is really cocky,
it's like, but it's a natural energy. Right. Like, it's weird, but yeah.
But then you say that but you're really not. You say you come off as being cocky, but you're really not. And talking to you, I'm getting that. Like you
see what I'm saying?
And I kind of hit, and it's funny, and because I'm going to bring up C Red again. And stuff. That was the exact same opinion I had of him. I'm like, man, this guy's really cocky. But then I sit here. And I'm talking, and it's like, man, this guy is just such a good dude, and the same thing with you.
Right.
And that's so, like I said, again, I referenced the interview that I did with you guys for my little show that I did after, after the event was over, and you guys come over and, you're just cocky. But then it's just like, I went from thinking these guys are just really cocky jerks, but man, these two guys are just having a good time, man. And I'm like, I want to, because you went from talking about it, and then you were talking. I remember, you're talking about going out to eat. And I think you brought up Steak and Shake and all that.
Steak and Shake, right?
Yeah, going to like, I'm like, man,
Chicago.
And it's just like when you brought, I was like, man, I think that's when I'm like, man, I really like these guys. And I was like, I got to get them on my show and stuff. So
yeah, man, and working with C-Red ain't doing but make me even more comfortable because we basically just work off each other.
I see that too. I felt that when I was interviewing.
Right. We don't really go in with a plan. We just go in and just do it.
Right.
He say something, I'm piggybacking off of. I say something, he piggyback off. It just it's back and forth. It's always been like that. So to me, that's why we gel together.
Absolutely. I was just gonna say, it's like almost like you're reading my mind with all your words and stuff, because I was going to say the way that you guys play off each other so well, it really exemplifies why you guys work so well together, because you guys have that uncanny ability to do that. And that's not really something you see a lot, with some of these guys, that are teams or part of stables and stuff, it's because you guys, it comes off naturally. And I don't think that's something that you see, in a lot of people.
Right. And that goes back to, like I was saying about the whole, like, doing all the moves and all that. It's like you doing all that, but then you got to do an interview afterwards. What you gonna say? You gonna be like, like what I'm gonna say? I did a flip in that match. You know what I mean? It's like you gotta have substance. You can't just have one thing. I try to I don't know. I just try to be different. That's why I changed the king from the Kang. It's like, everybody else was the crown on their head. I wear it on my neck. And I try to explain that the whole Kang thing is not really royalty. It's more attitude. It's more like, I'm wearing this. Yes, it's on my neck. It's a prop, but this is my show.
Are you
Like-
sure you're not reading my mind? Because I was just going to ask you. I kid you not. This was my next question. Was going to be, what differentiates the Kang?
Yeah.
You just literally answered the question before I got a chance to ask. So I don't know if you're like doing something to, like, you're reading my mind through this, but man, like, you're just like answering my questions before I get a chance to even ask them. I love it.
Hey, man, I'm psychic, man. I'm psychic. But
I love it.
that's mainly the difference I try to, put out. It's like this is me. It don't matter if I'm first out, from middle, from last. It don't matter. It's just like, this is my show. I don't care if you the champ. I don't care if you know what I mean? It's an attitude thing. It's it's more,
It's a mindset.
You're right. It's a mindset.
And that's so. All right, so a couple more questions here before I wrap it up for the evening. Do you still follow professional wrestling? Like, do you still watch like WWE, Impact, AEW, all that stuff?
A little bit. I mostly, just a little bit, because most of the stuff is just basically, I don't know. It just if it's good, like if it's like really good TV, like it's a good story or something, then I tune in. You know what I mean? Sometimes it may just be just basically the same thing, just
right.
But if it's something that's like that catches my eye, or it's like, oh, it's interesting, like what was that? I think the WrestleMania, like, was that last year? They did the whole like Undertaker and AJ type thing.
Yeah, the Boneyard match, that was this past.
Yeah, that was stuff like that. That's like that was like, oh, it's different. Like we tuning in. I'm like, oh man, like we get it, but we like, it's interesting. It ain't regular match, just simple stuff like that. I mean, I tune in just a little bit. If it's a match that that I'm interested in seeing between like on NXT or AEW or something, then I watch it. Or I watch something that's like old and try to like basically learn from it, see how they did that move, or how they speak, and basically homework, basically.
Right.
Say it that way. Yeah. So I mostly, like I said, dabble in the older stuff mainly, more than the newer stuff. So
right. Now, when you say like, okay, so you talk about like older stuff, like, are you talking like pre-Attitude Era, that kind of stuff? Like, are we talking Attitude, Ruthless Aggression Era?
You could say that. More of the era when it was more like gimmicks.
Okay, so definitely
not just
Attitude Era.
And not just basically performers. I want to see you know what I mean? You gotta have the character. That's the main thing I hear a lot of people say they want to see. It's like, what else can you do other than this move and that move and that move? It's like, you gotta study the characters, So if you're gonna take a little bit from this character and flip it, or or just do your own thing. Just basically just homework,
So you mentioned, taking a little bit from here, this guy, and a little bit from this guy. Who would you say, like, in like, were like some of the characters you've drawn from when you created the Kang? If anybody.
I can't really say, I don't know. I can't really say who I would, say that I pieced from, because I don't think I really took anything from anybody. Mm-hmm. I basically just used what I was given. If that makes sense.
Yeah. No, I get you.
Because when I started, they was trying to give me something I didn't want. You know what I mean? They turned me heel. They kept putting me on like the pre-show. You see what I'm saying? I was I was on the show, but not on the show.
Right. And
then from there, that's mainly when the whole Kang thing started, because I was just working with what I had. When I started, I was the king of the pre-show. I was like, in my head, I'm like, they keep putting me on the pre-show. I'm gonna be the king of the pre-show. Whenever I'm on the pre-show, I'm gonna beat everybody on the pre-show, so it's gonna be mine. And then I was improving, and they seen me build up from basically the character that I'm trying to create, and then started putting me on the main show. Mm-hmm. And then I changed it from the pre-show to I changed it to the Kang of the whole show.
Nice.
You know what I'm saying? I just work with what they give me and just flip it. like just do my own thing in my head just from there, you know. So I can't really say I compared what I do to anybody because it was just something I just did. It ain't nothing. I'm gonna take it from CM Punk, or I'm gonna take this from Stone Cold. I just worked with what I had and just ran with it.
It works for you, man, because like I said, you and Red there were drawing some good heat at that show. So
yeah, man, that's what we try to do. We try to do it, man. I don't care what it is. If it's good or bad heat, we in there. We gonna entertain. We gonna make sure that people come back and basically enjoy it.
I was so entertained by you and Red and the rest of the guys at CCW that I actually bought my ticket for the April show.
There you go. So you ready?
And then actually too, and I messaged John about this a few hours ago. I've got a buddy of mine who actually we're 2/3 of this other podcast that I'm involved with and stuff. He actually lives down in Texas. He's actually coming up he just bought a ticket today for the show in April. He's actually flying up for Texas specifically for this show.
Oh man, like that's it.
John was really excited when I told him about it. So like I told him, I got a buddy of mine that we're 2/3 we're 2 of 3 co-hosts on this other podcast I do. It's called The Junkyard, and he told me, he was like asking me about it. I was like, yeah, I'm gonna buy a ticket. So I was like really excited, and I knew John would be too, because John's always likes when people from all over come to the show and stuff. Speaking of that show, this is gonna kind of be into that, and then also too, I'm gonna give you some time here to plug the CCW show plus any other appearances you have, and then also how can people buy your merch?
Okay. You want me to
go right ahead. Just tell me the CCW show, and then if you've got anything other shows that you're going to be coming up here making it.
Just basically the April show. I think C3 Wrestling, if I'm not mistaken, I think they posted something they've been running in March. I think.
Okay.
Yeah.
I think Red alluded to that too.
Yeah, I don't know if it's March 5th or something.
I think that's I can't remember the exact, but March sounds right.
Yeah, but other than that, that's mainly it so far. We gonna plug it right now. Like I'm open for bookings. Like
yeah,
if you want me to come in, I don't ask for much.
No,
I just put it out there, man, for anybody. I ain't opposed to nobody. You know what I mean? It's if exposure is exposure. If it's good exposure, I'm taking it. So.
Right. Well, especially in this kind of era, because there's a lot of people out there that aren't able to work because of this whole pandemic thing, and that's and this one thing too I always like to tell people that I have on the show, and just people why I do my podcast, is because you got guys like you and Red and and that they don't have that voice or that reach like someone say. We'll just use like AJ Styles, Seth Rollins,
right.
Cody, Kenny Omega and stuff, because, they're able to reach a national audience because they're with one of these big companies. Now, you guys, unfortunately, don't have that luxury because a lot of these companies can't operate during this pandemic. So doing this show kind of came as a result of that, because I wanted to give you guys a chance to, let your voice be heard and to get yourselves out there, because I think really you guys, just as much as anybody, deserve that, and especially during these trying times, you need that. So
right, yeah, I like I said, I appreciate it. If I didn't, people contact me all the time, like, you want to do a podcast? Like, hey, I don't care. We could do it, man. I get on there, grace the Zoom call or something, man. We can talk.
Yeah, I was actually talking with my friend, and you've been on his show, Brad Marcus.
Yeah, Brad, man.
Yeah, before I came onto it, and I told him that I was going to be interviewing you as soon as because we were both on this other podcast that for some friends of ours do and stuff, and I was telling him before I hopped off to set up for this and that, and he said, "Oh, you're gonna have a lot of fun with." He spoke very highly of you.
Oh, see, Brad. I like Brad, man.
Brad's a good dude. Yeah,
he was supporting my shirt like a week ago or something. It was like he rapping. I'm like, all right, go ahead, man, do your thing.
I'll be frank and honest with you, and I'll give you a chance to plug it. But I'm definitely gonna be buying one of your shirts here too. So
Oh, appreciate it, man. Appreciate it.
Obviously, I know how to get to buy your shirts. Like, I know how to access them, but for those of you, those people that are listening to this out there that maybe don't know, excuse me, how to get your merch, tell the audience here, how can your fans get your shirts?
I believe it's was it Pro Wrestling Tees?
Yep.
I think it's / the Soul Touches, because we on E-Red, basically the merch king, basically.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm gonna try to get my own thing, work a little thing out. But you can go in there and get the shirts, or you could probably get it for me. I bring them to the show too. You come to any show that I'm on, basically got the shirts with me. Or if I don't got the size, just let me know. I order it, ship it to you, whichever. It's no problem.
I'll definitely take a look on there. I'll figure out something, but I will definitely, because like I said, you guys, are always, I'm gracious with your time and really appreciate you doing this with me and stuff. And this is kind of like, I always like to get, shirts of the guys I've had on my show, because you guys are supporting me with what I do with this podcast, and I want to return the favor and support you guys with what you do. So
I appreciate you, and you gracious with your time. Hey, you contacted me. You ain't have to do that. You know what I mean? So I appreciate it, man.
It's like I said, I had so much fun, in like the 2-3 minutes I talked with you, interviewed you and C-Red after the show and stuff, and then like as much fun as I had with C-Red on here, it's like, it's like I gotta get the Kang on and stuff.
There it is.
So did I get it right?
Yeah, you got it.
All right, cool. But alrighty then, man. Well, that's about all I got for you. I just want to thank you once again for doing this show with me. It was a lot of fun. And I'm sure I'll be talking with you, off and on through Facebook and stuff like that before, the show. But if I don't, if anything, I look forward to seeing you and Red and the rest of the superstars of CCW out in Michigan City on the 17th of April.
And you too, man. Yeah, we looking forward to them. We gonna tear the roof off, man. We gonna be bigger this time.
Well, see, the thing is April 17th is the day before my birthday. I was born April 18th. So
wow.
I'm just not like trying to imply anything, but if you want to, buy me a drink or buy me, a cake or something, I'm not gonna stop you guys from doing that.
Remind us.
Yeah, no.
Remind us.
Yeah, no.
Yeah.
It's cool. But no, I just want to say, and I said this to John many times as well too, is you guys are all a bunch of great wrestlers, but even more importantly that just top notch people, and I just want to thank you for what you do, taking the time to do the interview at the show and stuff and just for doing what you guys do in this era, because like I said, we don't get with this pandemic has really limited the things that we can do, and it's really taking away a lot of the things that we enjoy and stuff, and just being able, you guys going out there during this pandemic and stuff to do this for us. I just, me myself, and I could pretty much speak for probably anybody that was at that show or just professional wrestling fans in general, just thank you guys for just continuing to do this throughout all this, because it's really it means
tough. Yeah, man. Like I said, I appreciate you, man. It's no problem. Hey, you could bring us back. I'm here. It's whatever you want to do.
Oh, dude, I'm gonna. You know what? I think as we get closer to the show, I'm thinking I may want to do a little something with maybe get the whole ARC in and do have some real fun.
Yeah, man. There it goes. See, you already know.
Maybe you guys can haze me or induct me as an honorary member of the ARC or something.
Hey, we might. Hey, I talked to Red. We can put something together.
All right, cool, man. I'm gonna hold you to that stuff. So, but all right, well, Mr. Mercer, the Kang. Thank you so much, man. And obviously, as this is being recorded, this is we're about a week out from Christmas and a couple weeks out for New Year's. So. I want to wish you and yours a Merry Christmas and also a Happy New Year, man.
To you as well, man. Be safe, man. Be safe.
Likewise, man. You as well.
Thanks, Myles, so much for your time. Really enjoyed the conversation, and to all of you listening, I hope you enjoyed it as well. Be sure to go to prowrestlingtees.com/DaSoulTouchas, and it's DASOULTOUCHAZ. It's coming across the screen as we speak to get your merchandise to support Myles, C-Red, Renee Van Peebles, and the rest of the ARC. Also, you can see Myles, Mercer, and the rest of the superstars of Chicagoland Championship Wrestling in action in Michigan City, Indiana on Saturday night, April 17th, 2021. Tickets are still available for this event. Just got word, by the way, that my very good friend and co-host of my other podcast, The Junkyard, Mr. Jovan Minacho, will be flying in from Texas for this show. So we are going to definitely be hanging out along with our good friend Brad Marcus. Once again, ticket information is coming across the screen if you're watching this on YouTube, and the information will be on the episode description wherever you get your you listen to your podcast via. Well, that's all the time I have this week. So real quick before I call it a night, I would like to wish every one of you that's listening to this podcast Merry Christmas, Happy Holiday, and I will see you next week with another episode of What Do You Say with DDJ. Thanks.